There are 3 things that come with every new year. New Year's goals, New Year's resolutions, and new hair trends. What happens when you see one of these trends and maybe you really like it and you're thinking, man, I would really like to try that with my hair. But how do you ensure that that trend is going to help you look more youthful, not just look like you're trying to look like a youth? I'm gonna walk you through a very simple 3-step process that I use behind the chair on clients when they bring in photos, really not just of a trend, but of any style, to help ensure that what we do actually helps them to look more youthful. So yes, and at the very end of this video, I'm also going to be sharing 2 bonus tips with you that are very important and I really think you're gonna like. I'm excited to share them. They're kind of industry secrets, if you will. Yeah, and we're gonna do that right now. Okay, so before we dive into these steps, inevitably, every time I create a video on this kind of topic, someone is going to say, why are we worried about looking more youthful? Why can't we just embrace the age that we are? And I don't disagree with that. That's really not what this is all about. So first, I'd also like to point out the fact that you did click on a video about looking more youthful. It's literally in the title. But more importantly, when I say youthful, what I mean is not looking a specific age. I mean looking more alive, more vibrant, more confident at whatever age that we are. Okay, now step number 1 is you're gonna go to a mirror and you're gonna look at your face shape, but I don't want you to actually get so specific about it. Now, if you wanna learn more about how to be very specific about what your face shape is, I've created an entire video about that. I'll link that right over here so you can check that out if you want. But I find that most people are kind of a combination of a couple or even sometimes a few different face shapes. So you're gonna go to the mirror and you're gonna look at your face and say, is it longer or is it fuller? Then you're gonna look at it and say, do I have a more average size forehead? Do I have a smaller forehead? Or do I have a larger forehead? Okay, now, if your face is longer, our goal is going to be to help accentuate a little bit of fullness in your face. We're gonna try to offset some of that length. That means that a length actually coming in, layers, or a length that sits at your chin, or having a little bit of extra fullness on the side is going to help create that bit of fullness and help offset some of that length. On the flip side, if your face is a little bit more on the full side, then we're gonna try to elongate it a little bit. That means that we want to stay away from lengths that are directly into the chin, whether that be layering and or an actual, like say, bob length, okay? We want the lengths to be a little bit longer and we want to take a little bit of the fullness out of the sides, create a little bit more on the top. If your forehead is on the smaller side, then it's not to say that you can't wear bangs, but we want to be a little bit more mindful if we do decide to wear bangs that they're not really strong or full. We want to be able to see your forehead through the bangs so that we can keep your face opened up and help elongate it a bit. If your forehead is a little bit on the larger side, then bangs might be a very good option for you, and in that scenario you can be a little bit thicker or more dense with the bangs because we're actually trying to offset some of that length. Step number 2 is determining what length you're going to feel the most confident in. Okay, now, I know a lot of people think, well, the length is what's going to determine whether or not it's going to work for my face shape. If I don't have the right face shape for that length, it's not going to look good. And that is absolutely not true. It isn't the length that's going to look good on you. It's what you do in the length. I actually talked about that in one of my more recent videos. If you want to check that out, that's going to be right here. What we do inside of that length, how we layer it, where we put volume and where we take volume away, that's going to determine whether or not it elongates your face, whether or not it accentuates cheek structure, whether or not it adds more fullness, or whatever. The most important thing to looking more youthful is looking confident, and that comes from being confident. So what is going to be the length that you feel best in, that you resonate most with? Determine that, or if there's a length that you've just always wanted to try, right? Determine what that is, and then we'll determine how do we cut the length? What style do you go for within that length? Does that make sense? Okay, step number 3 is determining what you're going to feasibly do as far as day-to-day and cut-to-cut maintenance. Meaning, how much time are you willing to spend on styling your hair? How often are you going to need to go into the salon to get this style maintained? And the reason that this is extremely important is because if you spend the time to polish or style a shape, it's always going to look better. And most importantly, what actually happens here is you also feel better. When you do your hair, right, when it's done and you love the way that it looks, you're gonna hold your head up a bit higher. You're gonna feel more confident, and you're gonna portray that confidence out into the world. And that means that you're going to look more vibrant, more alive, wait for it, more youthful. Okay, now I have some very important bonus tips for you that I know you're gonna like, but before we do that, you might be asking yourself, well, great, good steps, but how do I actually utilize these steps to determine what style you want? How do we bring this all together? I gotcha. It's pretty simple, actually. So if you go through the steps, then we already know you either have a round face or a full face. You either have a more average size forehead, smaller forehead, or a larger forehead. We also know what length range you want to be at, what you feel the most confident in, or what you would really like to move towards, and we know how much time you're willing to spend. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna take that information and you're gonna start finding photos. You're gonna find photos of things that you like and things that you don't like. And you're gonna use those photos and your newfound knowledge and determine what shapes might work for you or what styles might work for you based on that. Now, like I said, these bonus tips that I'm about to share with you, they're gonna feed into this a bit more, and they're really gonna help you take it to that extra 15%. So stick with me here, but I'm gonna move locations. But these two are big ones, so let's talk about some bonuses. I almost just fell trying to, I'm not kidding, I legitimately almost, and there's water, right? I'm not even lying. Oh yeah. And before we move on, I got something really exciting that I want to share with you. And I'll be sharing more about this or this more often in future videos because I want everybody to know. But this year marks some really big changes for this channel and for me and my wife. We are actually going to be doing a lot of traveling around the United States. I want to stop in some different states and I want to actually meet some of you. I would love to cut some of your hair. So if you want to get notified of where we're going to be, when we're going to be there, and get your name on the list to be part of getting your hair cut, there's a link in the description below so that we can make sure that you get notified so you can meet up and hang out. Okay, let's talk about some bonuses. So bonus tip number one. First of all, as we age, I think we all can agree that certain things have a tendency to happen. And one of those things is that, well, things start to move in a downward direction instead of an upward direction. Gravity is a bitch. But with that said, if you've ever watched any of my Hair Mistakes That Age You Faster subscriber edition videos, you've likely heard me say multiple times that one of the biggest mistakes is the way that a particular shape is drawing the eye down. And if we create volume in certain areas, it has a tendency to lift the eye up. Creating volume in certain areas that lifts the shape up and lifts the eye up is a fantastic way of offsetting what gravity is doing. One of the most simple ways to do that is to create a little bit of extra volume right around the temples. Basically follow the line of the cheekbone and create volume in that area. When you do that, it's going to help to accentuate more lift in that area, but also lift that eye because it's pulling some of the volume away from below that or around the cheeks. Here's what's going to happen. You're gonna watch this video, you're gonna be like, those tips are great. Now, how do I deal with my stylist? How do I give them the information that you've just given me to get the best cut? I'm gonna share a tip with you here that is something that I tell everybody to do. It's something that I ask clients to do when they come to me, and it's going to change the way you communicate. You're gonna take the photos that you've pulled, right? The different shapes that you like based on the 3 steps that we talked about, and you're gonna take those photos of things that you like and photos of things that you don't like. You're gonna take the information that you have from those 3 steps, you're gonna take all of that to a stylist, and then you're gonna say, here are some photos of things I like, here are some photos of things that I don't like. I feel like my face is longer, is more round, is fuller. I feel like my forehead is smaller. I want my hair roughly this length. I like this particular length range. This is where I'm gonna feel the most comfortable in. I don't want it shorter than this. I don't want it longer than this. I am willing to spend X amount of time to maintain it every morning and for in between haircuts. And then you're gonna work together with them with all of that information to determine what the best option is for you. That sun is like right in my eyeball right now. I'm not complaining, I love the sun. But with all of that said, I hope that helped. So if you have any questions about that, comment below, let me know. And I'll see you next Tuesday with a brand new video. All right. And I'm warming up, so I feel better. We'll see you next week. Bye now.